You know, the craziest thing that I think about love, you know, when it comes down to it, the sex drive is the only thing that really keeps everything going. It's the piece that doesn't fit that, like, why would, like a black widow, like, why would a male go and mate when, after billions upon billions of times, the male always gets eaten? But then the mother, she's like, well, now that I had sex, now once the babies are born, they're all going to eat me. You know, why would they allow? Why would nature allow that to happen? And so it really comes down to the sex drive is the only thing that really keeps anything going. And what I find is the craziest and the most beautiful thing of all, you know, is how, I mean, we see it easily in teenagers and how the one that your the parents don't want you to get with, that's the one you want. But even more so, like through experience of marriage and just life experience of dating a lot of people and being with a lot of people different ways in different settings, that it turns out that like the best relationships connect the opposites. The above the one that's rich wants the poor guy. That's $1 million, but you know, I mean, he ain't got the money, and she's got all the money, but it just came to her easy, just like he came to himself easy, and so they're just comfortable in who they are, rather than the parents. See, our parents don't know what the fuck they're talking about. That's usually how it is, because they think too much. They're like, well, I see it this way, and that's the negative of experience, where it's stuck on limitation, and children teach us that, and how, like, you know, for instance, like an example of somebody who's really wild, you know, and he gets and wants somebody who's really innocent and sweet, and the one that's innocent and sweet would, you'd think, would be terrified of somebody who's really wild, but if they could get together, then it works out perfect. And also, when it comes down to like making a checklist of, okay, my partner needs to have these things. Well, as soon as you make that checklist, you're pretty much fucking yourself, because as soon as you make that checklist, then the one that walks in your life is gonna be the person that doesn't fit that shit. And if you're like, nope, nope, you smoke, nope, you're this, that, the other thing. If a person is not willing to pursue the things that come to them, then they're really limiting themselves and staying in their comfort zone. And that's a huge limitation upon the entire world, upon your lineage, upon all those around you. When growth comes from natural change. And so, like, for instance, a guy like got an innocent wife or whatever, and he goes out and does a bunch of drugs with his guys at night or whatever, but and the only thing he wants at the end of the night is her, and in the morning he's gonna be like, I'll do anything for you because you allow me to be this way. I will do anything for you. And she can be rest assured to know, fuck, of all the guys in the world, it doesn't matter. I like the fact, you know, it adds spice to our relationship. Where I have my alone time, at the same time as I'll get bored with anybody else now. I need him because he's crazy. But I know he's my kind of crazy. He's the only one. But anybody that if I would have married and hooked up with somebody that was balanced and equal with me, that we'd both be bored and be caught up in other people, because it just wouldn't be enough. And so that's what I find the most magical thing about love, which is, in a sense, sort of in the story of Romeo and Juliet, kind of. But that's a busted version. It's missing a lot, and it reveals a lot about the problems in relationships when it comes to family and our friends, and what other people think is good for us, or even what we think is good for ourselves. Without resistance, there's not really any passion.